Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something that's, well, fundamental to how our societies work, but it's also incredibly fragile. We're talking about public trust. So, have you ever felt it, that growing skepticism when you look at the government, the media, even our health systems? If you have, you are definitely not alone. It's a feeling that's part of a huge global phenomenon, a serious decline in trust for our public institutions. And this isn't just some small issue we can ignore. As the UN Secretary General said, the stakes are unbelievably high here. We're talking about something that affects everything from the stability of our democracies to whether our health systems actually work. So, okay, let's dive in and really try to understand how we got here and, more importantly, what we can do about it. To really get a handle on this problem, we first need to be on the same page. We need a common language. So let's break down three really key concepts that are kind of like the bedrock of this entire conversation. Okay, first up, we've got trust itself. And it's super important to see this not as just blind faith, but as a relational thing. It's a calculated leap we take, right? We make ourselves vulnerable because we expect, or at least hope, that an institution will act in our best interest. But here's the thing. That leap of faith isn't random. It totally depends on something called trustworthiness. These are the qualities that prove an institution is actually deserving of our trust. You can think of it as the evidence, right? Are they competent? Do they have integrity? Can we predict how they'll behave? And, when those qualities just aren't there, we get the exact opposite, distrust. And this isn't just a neutral feeling like an absence of trust. No, it's an active negative expectation. It's the belief that an institution might actually act against our interests. And that, right there, is what breaks the entire relationship. So what specific things cause these huge cracks in the foundation of trust? Let's zoom in a little and look at some of the most common ethical failures that just eat away at public confidence. A lot of times, it starts with favoritism. I mean, we've all heard that saying, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Whether we're talking about cronyism, favoring your buddies, or nepotism, favoring your family, these actions go directly against the core principle of fairness. And fairness is absolutely essential for trust. Now, this can get even more serious and become what we call a conflict of interest. At its core, this is any situation where a public official's private life has the potential to corrupt their public decisions. Now, it doesn't automatically mean corruption has happened, but just the potential for it. That alone is enough to do serious damage to trust. Okay, so we've diagnosed some of the big problems. Let's flip the script and start looking at solutions. What are the actual blueprints for designing institutions that aren't just trusted, but are genuinely trustworthy? Building trustworthy institutions isn't about luck or just having good intentions. It's about a systematic commitment to some really clear principles. We're talking about proven ethical behavior, reliable and consistent results, being transparent in how you communicate, and getting active participation from the public. And this is a big one. It's about being responsive, especially when things go wrong. And for when a conflict of interest does happen, there are clear, escalating steps to deal with it. It can start with something as simple as recusing yourself from a decision. But if the conflict is more severe, the options get more serious, all the way up to selling off a financial interest or, as a total last resort, resigning from public office. But what happens when the systems and the policies, all the procedures, what if they just aren't enough? Well, that brings us to the most human level of this whole story, an individual's choice in a real moment of crisis. This is where something called moral courage becomes absolutely critical. And it's not just about knowing what the right thing to do is. It's about having the personal strength to actually do the right thing, especially when it's hard, and especially when it comes with personal risk. For people who work in public service, this courage is often tested by a direct and, honestly, a painful conflict. On one side, you've got loyalty to your institution, the rules, your boss, your colleagues. And on the other side, you have your duty to the public interest, to what's fair, what's just, and what's good for society. And choosing the public interest, that choice often comes with a profound personal cost. Just look at this number. A 2020 survey found that a staggering 61% of employees who reported misconduct, whistleblowers, they actually faced retaliation for doing the right thing. The story of Satendra Dubey is just a tragic and powerful reminder of the ultimate price some people pay for their integrity. He exposed massive corruption in a highway project in India, and he was murdered for it. So the crucial takeaway here is that we can't just rely on individual heroes. We need systems that actually protect this kind of courage. So, how do we bring all of this together? In our last section, let's zoom back out and see how these individual acts of courage and these systemic designs can combine to rebuild that fractured foundation of trust. Yeah, rebuilding trust isn't just one single action. It's a whole ecosystem of actions all working together. The key pillars are things like strengthening the rule of law so it applies to everyone equally, enhancing civic participation so people have a real voice, promoting radical transparency, and, maybe above all, demanding and ensuring we have ethical leadership. And this brings us to the final thought for this explainer. We've seen that trust really depends on strong systems and on courageous people inside those systems. But there's a third piece to this puzzle: us, the public. We have a huge role to play in holding institutions accountable, in celebrating moral courage, and in demanding the trustworthiness that we all need and deserve. So the real question is, are we ready to play our part?